I'm Daniel James, and you're listening to 7am. This week we're bringing you our annual summer special. Each day, we'll speak to a critic with impeccable taste about the best books, TV shows, movies, music, podcasts, and games of 2025. Today, we are kicking it off with writer Sarah Krasnostein and the TV show she loved this year. Sarah's had a massive year, collaborating with Helen, Garner and Chloe Hooper on a book about Erin Patterson's triple murder trial, while at the same time writing another book and on the side, watching a hell of a lot of TV like the rest of us. Today, author of The Mushroom Tapes, The Believer and The Trauma Cleaner, Sarah Krasnostein, on the best TV of 2025. And just take my word for it, I believe this list is deadly. It's Monday, December 22. Sarah, thanks for joining us. We're here to talk about the best TV of the year, and you're here to lay a few things out for us in terms of your picks. Tell us about your first one.
So I chose Adolescence, which was kind of the start of the year, and it's something that I keep on thinking about.
What's going on? I'm going to start off with asking you.
Do you know a girl called Katie Leonard? Yeah? Describe each other as friends, then.
Is she dead, then?
Why would you ask her?
It's a show about what starts off as a seemingly inexplicable, horrifying murder. A 13-year-old boy named Jamie, who's played by the actor Owen Cooper, stabs his classmate, Katie, who's played by Amelia Holliday, stabs her to death. And each of these 4-hour-long episodes are filmed in a single continuous shot. So that in itself is noteworthy because it depends on unerring acting and script writing and cinematography and production design. But it also functions in the story in a way where the medium is the message, and it gives us a long view of causation and connection where we can see this young boy's murderous violence not as inexplicable, but very much a long train coming through a social media and social landscape that had at every turn done nothing to prevent gender-based violence.
The show has sparked a really deep conversation and sparked 1,000 think pieces about the manosphere and online incel culture. How does it grapple with those very sort of esoteric but very serious and deep themes?
Yeah, for so many of us, these are things that we kind of know, but then when called to explain, we lack language, and it's a very real generational divide.
Why do you have an Instagram account? What? I need one. Why? To look at other people's accounts. You can't if you haven't got one. Right. And you follow lots of women on Instagram, models.
Yeah.
You don't need to put photos up, though. Why do you put photos up of yourself, I mean?
I don't know. Am I not allowed?
So we understand this 13-year-old boy is going through all the familiar awkwardness of that stage, not fitting in at school, discontent at home, and receiving everywhere in the society long-standing gendered messages about, what men are and what women are, much of it kind of reflected by his perfectly lovely and loving parents. And then we see this tendency that he had to spend long hours in the night online alone in his bedroom. And so that's where we start understanding that manosphere, which is in the show a version of Andrew Tate's commodified hyper-masculinity, misogyny, alt-right disinformation, and capitalism, and kind of this gratuitous oppositional defiance.
Jamie, if you do not sit... Look, I fucking want to sit down! You do not tell me when to sit down! You do not control what I fucking... Look at me now!
We see how attractive that messaging of empowerment and belonging and community would be to a disempowered, lonely teenage boy in his bedroom. And so we're seeing that the consequences are diabolical, but that there's so many kind of stages before it reaches the end where somebody could have stepped in to offer what he was getting online.
You look a bit red. Did I scare you when I shouted? She wrote this on your... I mean, I'm only 13. I don't think I look that scary.
Sarah, what's second on your list?
So Pluribus, which kind of landed very recently. We're like weeks before the end of the year. And I feel in many ways this just came out of nowhere and has blown a lot of excellent TV shows out of the water and kind of off the list.
To my 12 fellow survivors, greetings. I'm Carol Sturka. Some of you know me. Some of you I've yet to meet. But if you're still one of us, then this message is for you.
So tell me about the world Pluribus is set in. What's it like?
So it's so strange and so compelling. It's a sunnily glad, apocalyptic thriller with a surprisingly unsympathetic lead.
We ourselves have no choice. For us, it's a biological imperative, like breathing. But every time one comes to understand how wonderful it
How many
feels...
fucking people died during your wonderful fucking joining?
Must you curse so much?
When Earth's population is horrifyingly and almost instantaneously assimilated into this benevolent hive mind, author, her name's Carol Sturka, and she's played by Rhea Seehorn, who just gives an amazing, phenomenal performance. Yeah.
She's amazing.
She finds herself like seemingly the last woman standing, and her efforts to resist this like glad collective's efforts to join them form the basis of the story as she kind of considers herself, and in certain ways is very much the last bastion of humanity, if we understand that as individualized experience.
There is something else to consider. We know what it feels like to be you, to be alone, to suffer. We've been you, but you've never been us.
So it's the latest work from heavyweight creator-director Vince Gilligan, who was most well known for Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, which I personally believe is better than Breaking Bad myself. That's just a side point. So does Pluribus live up to that massive legacy?
I believe it does. It's similar, it takes place in that same New Mexico landscape, and it kind of has all these Gilligan hallmarks, but at the same time, it's its own thing. And, I love Breaking Bad so much. I love Better Call Saul. And Pluribus does kind of earn its place in that Gilligan pantheon. We know that he likes these unlikely heroes, unlikely villains, unexpected narrative arcs. And he's really a master of storytelling. And that's what we're seeing with Pluribus.
Coming up, 2 fantastic new comedies. All right, Sarah, what's your third pick for 2025?
So this was Sterling Harjo's The Lowdown on Disney.
This is Lee Raybon.
Lee Raybon.
He'll write for any publications that'll humor his conspiracies.
You read my paper? It's booty and bad guys.
He's rough around the edges.
Dad, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Sterling, he made Reservation Dogs, which you picked for a previous best of a few years ago. Don't know whether you remember that.
Yes.
So what's it all about?
It's a neo-noir, so it's got all of these tropes of noir. So the cynical anti-hero and the femme fatale and, the almost mind-boggling complex plot, this overhanging sense of dread. But in a nutshell, Ethan Hawke plays a guy called Lee Raybon who describes himself as a truth historian.
But you are a journalist too, though, right? Or some kind of writer?
I'm a true historian.
Sorry, say again?
I am a Tulsa true historian.
A truth historian? What exactly is a truth
I'm glad
historian?
you asked. I read stuff.
Basically, he's part like citizen public interest journalist and part muckraker, and all the time this very chaotic dirtbag. But he has these very noble, elevated aims of trying to uncover dirty politics in the state. So when the brother of a local politician from a wealthy family commits suicide, Raybon finds a letter that the brother wrote before he died, and he goes in search of kind of the real story there because things aren't as simple as they seem. So that's the basic premise.
So it stars Ethan Hawke, who stars alongside Keith David, who is very well known for his comedy chops.
Yeah.
Not so much with Ethan Hawke, though. Can he pull off comedy?
I believe so. I mean, I wasn't expecting it. I don't think anyone was really, like, no offense to Ethan Hawke, I don't think anyone was really expecting Ethan Hawke to be a male comedic lead here. He did have a cameo in Res Dog, so obviously, like, that's not out of nowhere, but he just fully inhabits this role. It is an excellent, compelling, mesmerizing performance. And, you know, for Coen Brothers fans, it's undeniably Lebowski-esque. But at the end of the day, he is himself only. And what he's done with this character, I think, is just brilliant.
Get me to a hospital, goddammit!
Oh, come on, you said you didn't have time. Jesus.
This is for farm animals.
Animals take medicine too, all right?
What do you have for us next?
So this is The Rehearsal, season 2, and I don't quite know how to, where it would fit genre-wise, but it's different to the previous picks, tonally, that's for sure.
I do have some experience with creating elaborate role-playing scenarios, and I do have money to put towards this.
Yeah, I think you're onto something there.
Let's work together to save some lives.
Yeah, season 1 of The Rehearsal introduced us to the Fielder method, which underpins the whole show. Can you have a swing at describing what that is for us?
Look, I'll try. So basically, Fielder, who I think it's fair to describe as a comedian, he replicates in exacting, extravagant detail real-life settings. This is in season 1, but also season 2, to help people rehearse or like practice for challenging upcoming events and conversations. But from there, it kind of spirals ever outward and becomes more and more meta and absurd as it goes. But at its heart, both season 1 and season 2 are about the glories and tragedies of communication and performances that we all do at some point.
Mr. Fielder, where does your sense of altruism come from, where all of a sudden you want to save lives? You're known for pranking.
What makes it particularly special or different from the first season?
In the first season, he was helping people kind of deal with these issues, and also it spirals off into how to raise a child, which, again, is non sequitur in the spirit of the series. In season 2, he becomes a fully fledged transport pilot, but that's part of using this Fielder method at the service of improving aviation safety. I mean, even to say it is like difficult to keep a straight face, but basically, he's using this Fielder method in an attempt to improve communication dynamics in the cockpit, where the hierarchy between the pilot and the co-pilot or the junior pilot has often resulted in this lethal obedience, where the junior feels they can't challenge the more senior pilot, and that's responsible for so many aviation crashes. So he applies this rehearsal performance-based approach to trying to remedy those rates of crashes.
I had a theory that the start of a romantic relationship is a great parallel for two pilots meeting before a flight.
What's the longest you could go without coffee?
I mean, I could probably just go without it for a day, but it definitely helps.
You become intimately involved with a stranger, where both people are desperately trying to read each other. But the pressure to show the best version of yourself can prevent you from sharing what you actually feel.
Yeah, so I think...
Again, to even describe this is to dare people who've never heard of it to be interested enough to actually watch it. But I think the result is, well, firstly, is extremely awkward, but it's genuinely hilarious and absurd. And I found the most surprising thing about this is that it is unexpectedly moving in the way that it interrogates kind of these possibilities and the limitations of practicing the selves that we would like to be.
Yeah, he uses a hall of mirrors, really, to reflect ourselves back at each other in all sorts of weird ways.
Absolutely.
Coming up, our post-apocalypse stories are hopeful. And before we finish up, Sarah, you've got one more for us, an Argentinian sci-fi. Tell me about the Eternauts.
So it's filmed in the neighborhoods of present-day Buenos Aires, and it opens with a strange summer snow that kills everyone it happens to touch.
¿Qué es eso?
Hay algo en el aire, ¿no?
como si estuviera nevando. Nieve en verano.
Se apagó el campo magnético de la Tierra.
It's got these beautiful images of the silent, frosted city where daily life is just abbreviated. And it was noteworthy because it's based on the science fiction comic strip from the late 50s by a man called Hector Germán Oesterheld. If you look at that, it has these themes that call directly forward to the rise of fascism broadly and almost directly our current moment, but also what happened in Argentina later when Oesterheld himself was murdered in their dirty wars in the 70s.
Compared to the other science fiction on your list, this definitely is a bleaker side of the story. So what's compelling about this world and why would we want to spend time in another bleak world, Sarah?
I will always argue that post-apocalyptic genre is inherently hopeful. It's inherently optimistic because it's less about what's been destroyed and it's about the possibilities of what can be created and kind of what the next draft of all this could look like. With our uses and misuses of AI, these eternal questions are very much relevant at the moment. But the nature of streaming generally and 2025 specifically has been like, we are spoiled for choice. So, you don't have to listen to me. There's so many other things out there as well.
Sarah, thanks so much for the listen. Thanks so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.